Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack Christopher Nolan's absolute masterclass in obsession, deception, and, honestly, arguably the darkest magic trick in cinema history. This isn't just a story about stage illusions. It's a brutal, psychological battle between two men who are literally willing to push past the limits of sanity just to achieve greatness. I want to anchor our whole explainer right here on this iconic opening line. Are you watching closely? See, this isn't just a bit of clever dialogue. It's a direct challenge from the director right to you. As we unravel the deeply layered secrets of this intricate narrative together, I'm challenging you to pay close attention. Because the wild thing is, the movie tells you its secrets right from the very beginning. All right, Section 1, The Pledge, a Deadly Rivalry. This perfectly sets up the core clash between our two main guys, a total difference in ideology that ends up fueling their lifelong feud. You've got Alfred Borden, this mysterious, technically gifted purist who is 100% focused on the craft of magic. And then, on the flip side, there's Robert Angier. He's the ultimate showman, totally thriving on charisma and audience manipulation. They are essentially two halves of the perfect magician, but they are completely at odds with each other. So the spark that ignites all this madness? It's a specific knot. During a super dangerous water tank escape stunt, Angier's wife, Julia, gets trapped because her wrists were tied with a Langford double knot. Now, this is a tie that actually swells up underwater, making it nearly impossible to slip. She tragically drowns right there in front of the audience. And when Angier angrily confronts Borden later about which knot he tied, Borden just says, "I don't know." That agonizing uncertainty, that total lack of closure, that's what lights the fuse for a deadly, lifelong obsession with revenge. Moving right along to Section 2, The Turn, Obsession and Sabotage. If we trace the timeline of their rivalry, it's just this incredibly vicious tit-for-tat cycle. I mean, look at how systematically they destroy one another. First, Angier slips a real bullet into Borden's gun during the famous bullet catch, which literally blows off two of Borden's fingers. Insane, right? Well, in retaliation, Borden sabotages Angier's collapsible birdcage trick, horribly mangling a poor audience member's hand and totally ruining Angier's reputation. And it just keeps escalating. When Borden figures out Angier is using a drunken lookalike named Gerald Root for his transported man illusion, Borden kicks away the hidden landing mattress. The result? Angier shatters his leg. It's madness. Neither guy can just walk away and let the other win. Now, are you watching closely? Because we really need to dig into a major debate. This one sourced straight from the Stack Exchange community, all about Borden's cipher diary. We know Angier steals the diary, cracks it using the keyword Tesla, and then travels all the way to America. But why on earth did Borden send him there in the first place? What's so fascinating here is how it completely reframes the reality of Borden's trap. The general consensus among hardcore fans is that Borden sent his rival on a total wild goose chase. To Borden, Nikola Tesla was just this eccentric alchemist chasing impossible pipe dreams. He never in a million years expected Tesla to actually invent a working, reality-defying sci-fi cloning machine. Honestly, he just wanted Angier out of the country for a few months so he could dominate the London stage in peace. And that brings us to Section 3, The Prestige, the Clones, and the Twins. Let's break down the terrifying mechanics of Angier's ultimate trick, the real transported man. It's essentially a three-step nightmare. Step 1, Angier steps into Tesla's machine. Step 2, a perfect duplicate of him is instantaneously created at the back of the theater. Step 3, the floor drops out and the man inside the machine plunges into a locked water tank and drowns. And he does this every single night. Naturally, this horrific routine sparks a massive philosophical debate over on Reddit. Fans are constantly arguing over the supposed plot hole of Angier's consciousness. Even Angier admits he never knows if he's going to be the man in the box or the man on the balcony. So, did the original Angier actually die on that very first night, leaving only a string of clones to carry on the cycle? Well, the answer actually lies in a brilliant quote from Nikola Tesla in the film. When he's talking about those duplicated top hats scattered all over his yard, he says, "They are all your hat." As users on the forums rightly point out, in this universe, there is no original and no clone. At the exact precise second of duplication, they are absolutely identical, down to the atomic level. They share the exact same memories, the same burning obsession, and the absolute certainty that they are the real Robert Angier. So the mind-bending reality here is what we can call the 100% paradox. Because both men are identical the moment that machine fires, Angier faces a 100% chance of dying in sheer agony and a 100% chance of surviving to take the bow on the balcony. He is literally committing murder and suicide simultaneously, over and over, purely to soak in the audience's applause. And this completely horrifying dedication brilliantly contrasts with the other huge reveal of the film. Borden wasn't using a fancy machine at all. He was a set of deeply committed identical twins sharing one single life. Think about that. You've got Alfred, who genuinely loved his wife Sarah, was a loving father to their daughter Jess, and was generally the calmer, more careful brother. Then you've got the other brother, who spends half his time playing their assistant Fallon. His real name is Frederick. Frederick loved their assistant Olivia, he was way angrier, much more reckless, and, crucially, he was the one who actually tied that fatal wrong knot on Julia's wrists. They just took turns playing the magician and the assistant, living half a life each. All right, Section 4, Clues Hidden in Plain Sight. Incredibly observant Reddit sleuths have pointed out that the movie practically screams this twist right at your face from the jump. When Sarah tearfully tells Borden, "Some days you mean it," after he says, "I love you," it's literally because she is interacting with two entirely different men on different days. Or how about when Borden miraculously enters Sarah's apartment almost instantly after she leaves him standing out in the hallway? One twin was outside, the other was already inside waiting. When Borden identifies the old Chinese magician's trick, he instantly recognizes it because he, too, is a man living a lie every single day. And my absolute favorite, when Angier's engineer Cutter is asked how Borden pulls off his trick, Cutter flat out tells the audience he's using a double. We just completely refuse to believe it could be that simple. Then there's this incredibly subtle, absolutely heartbreaking little detail. Early on in the film, during a really simple vanishing bird trick, there's a crying little boy in the audience who absolutely refuses to believe the reappearing bird is the same one that disappeared. He cries out, "No, that's his brother!" I mean, wow, it serves as this beautiful, poetic, and deeply tragic metaphor for the entire climax of the film, hinting at the twins and the disposable clones right there from the start. The visual clues are just as staggering, because Nolan is an absolute master of foreshadowing. Get this, the very first shot of the entire movie is a pile of identical, cloned top hats sitting in the snow. If you watch Christian Bale closely throughout the film, a subtle eyebrow scar occasionally disappears and reappears, entirely depending on which brother is actually on screen. And even the title itself, The Prestige, literally refers to the final act of a magic trick, which is bringing the disappeared thing back, which is exactly what happens with Angier's clones and exactly what happens when the surviving Borden twin returns at the end. Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, The Tragic Cost of Obsession. 100. Let that number sink in. That is the estimated number of times Robert Angier willfully committed horrific suicide by drowning in a pitch-black tank. He drowned himself 100 times over, just to frame his rival for murder and steal a fleeting moment of glory on a stage. We really need to pause here and emphasize the absolute true horror of what these men did. Whether it was Angier ruthlessly drowning his own clones in a tank, or the Borden twins sharing a single identity and sharing a single wife, their absolute terrifying dedication to their craft destroyed literally everything around them. As the film says, they lived a half-life. Sarah is driven to suicide by the severe emotional whiplash of loving two different men without even realizing it. Julia is killed for the sake of making a trick better. These guys sacrifice their fundamental humanity all for the ultimate illusion. Which brings us to the profound final words from the film spoken as Angier lies dying. The world is simple, miserable, but if you can fool them even for a second, then you can make them wonder. It beautifully, tragically summarizes the philosophical weight of the whole story. It's a deep exploration of why entertainers do what they do, this desperate, consuming need to inject real magic into a mundane reality, absolutely no matter the cost. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought today. As viewers, we all know the magic isn't real. We know cinema is just a series of clever tricks, lights, and careful editing. But, as the film explicitly asks us, don't we secretly want to be fooled? I mean, we ignored the super obvious clues about the twins because we wanted a more complex, magical answer. We wanted the magic. Proving that, in the end, the greatest magic trick of all was Christopher Nolan fooling us. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and honestly, I hope this completely changes how you watch the film next time.